looks like.
Remember, thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that bell. Stay tuned, we're going to start right now.
What you know you can't explain. But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. Experience the awakening. Brilliant anonymous researchers. Patriots, join us in the Patriot Army. Trust the plan, pain coming. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. RedStateTalkRadio.com, Brighteon.tv, Rumble.com/MG Show. The end won't be for everyone. That choice to know will be yours. Where we go one, we go all. Fight, 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 and fight we will. We fight every day right here on the MG Show. Welcome to the MG Show, where we are here daily, 12:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 2 or so. Welcome to the show. It's rumble.com/MG Show. That's our home base. I've got my partner in justice, Shady Groove. Shady, Shannon, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir. Welcome to you. Welcome to all of the great patriots out there that stand up for freedom. And man, oh man, have we been navigating a minefield of psychotic numbnuts or what?
Yeah.
They are coming out to play.
It's weird. It's like, you like Candace or you like Erica. You like Steve Bannon or you like Roger Stone. You like, this one and to that one. You know what? I don't like any of them anymore, Shady. I'm tired. I'm tired of all of them. I'm tired of Tucker Carlson. I'm tired of the Hodgkins twins. I'm tired of the Flynn Network. I'm tired of all the garbage. And I think the internet and X is tired as well, Shady Groove. And by the way, MAGA is not going anywhere, guys. It's just growing, okay? Period.
No, that right there is absolutely true. MAGA is growing, and whenever you say that, it's growing into what used to occupy the Democrat Party. Why? Because people have brains. People have common sense. Are the American people like some of the smartest people on earth all the time? No, not necessarily, but there's sometimes where the rubber meets the road and they wake up and they're like, you know what? There is X amount of nonsense that I'm willing to tolerate, and then there's this whole huge heaping helping over here that I am not, and we are currently at that point. We have reached a Rubicon or of such.
Yeah, or a precipice.
A precipice, or possibly, yes, a precipice. A precipi would be singular.
Pi Day was Saturday, wasn't it?
Oh, no, now you went right to pi.
Well, you triggered me.
3.14.
That's right. And guys, thank you very much for joining the show today. We've got a lot of weird stuff going on. You've got, Candace Owens saying that, Erica Kirk is a lesbian. You've got Liz Crokin saying that she is, in fact, engaged in child trafficking, which is, pretty much a crazy thing without any proof, right?
No proof.
And wouldn't that be something that you could sue somebody on for defamation? I mean, my God, because she was at a modeling agency. You see how they work this stuff, guys? Because she worked at a modeling agency, that means she's involved with trafficking and all that. I just have a hard time.
And it wasn't really a huge amount of involvement there anyway. But obviously there is the connection. But this is where it gets really sticky for people to not be able to use their own discernment, because, you know, everybody is trying to say things like, oh, well, if these things that they're saying about her weren't true, she would sue them for defamation.
Yeah.
Well, the reality of the situation is this, guys. Only about 10 to 12, maybe 15% of Americans are on X.
Yeah.
So therefore, whenever you're talking about trying to prove, okay, you're saying defamation, that you have to prove intent to maliciously harm your character in front of a wide audience. Well, 10% of America isn't really a wide audience. Whenever you say, oh, out of 100%, that's only like 30 million people out of 330 million people. So whenever you make the argument, oh, she would sue for defamation, that's not how the real world works.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, if you're a public figure too, you're pretty much open
We have
game.
Yeah, we have absolutely we have been told by countless people that we have absolutely no recourse whatsoever, no matter what anybody says about us or any lie that they tell or anything that they say about the two of us or this show. We have been told countless times that we have absolutely no recourse in our system for censorship or being lied about.
That's right. We're Americans, and we're censored by Media Matters, right?
And the
Who's funded
government.
by George Soros and you know, Arabella Advisors and the foundations. You know, with the Democrats, we have no recourse. And Shady, you just mentioned as well, the government. Sitting Senator Angus King wanted my account off X in Twitter File 16.
So you can effectively go in and you can remove people and you can take them down and you can censor them, and then you can utilize the system to tell them that they have absolutely no recourse. It seems like a pretty good way to control the game. If it were not for you, the great American patriots that are out there supporting us on this show, we wouldn't be here. The only reason we are here doing what we're doing is because you've decided, for whatever reason that may be, that you want to support us and keep us here. And thank you to all the people that do that.
That's right.
By the way, Jeff, real quick, as a side note, I was going through some of the file cabinet stuff over the weekend, and I ran across all of the wonderful messages and letters and cards and stuff that has been sent to this show over the last 4 years or so since we've had an address for you to be able to mail things to us. And you want to talk about getting reinvigorated? You want to talk about like getting some real world inspiration about what it is that we do here and how it is that we've changed the world. People can call us whatever they want to call us. They can say whatever they want to say about us. I know what the truth is. I know what all of you have said back to us about how we are trying to do this the right way by not interjecting poison information into the conversation. Sometimes we hold back and things are true that we aren't convinced of yet. But that's the proper process. The proper process isn't just to throw everything out there against the wall and then try to stand your credibility up on whatever it is that sticks.
That's right. G Brothers, 1 subscription to the MG Show. Thank you, chat. Reality Popper, we wash with Dawn. Can nuts. Exactly right. You know, we try to. And, you know, rewrite it, Dawn, if they go after Tucker is what Candace is saying, right? And,
Go
you know,
ride somewhere.
all I picture is a bunch of, never mind. It's just so stupid, guys.
Can we trade them for some illegals?
Yeah, I mean, let's just.
Let's trade Marjorie, Massey, Tucker, and Candace. Pick 4 illegals, and we'll give them citizenship, and we can send these people to, like, Qatar or something.
Well, they're already there. I mean, Tucker already has a house there.
He has a place. Well, I mean, I don't want them to be, like, homeless.
Right. Real quick, let me accept and start this one. We got President Trump on deck. We got that. But, you know, they can freeze your accounts, guys. Shut off your cards. Lock down your own money overnight. This is how banks don't protect you guys. They control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. And introducing that Rumble wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership, guys, of physical physical gold bars. Of physical gold bars. President Trump is coming on. Each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vault storage fees or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's the power. And when you support creators on Rumble, like the MG Show, you can tip us directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, and outside the banking system. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. Shady Groove, we got President Trump coming in right now.
Thank you guys so much. Wow, what an announce.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States,
Gets the
Donald
drum roll and
J.
everything.
Trump.
Oh, something tells me this is going to be good.
Shady, I can't hear you.
I said something tells me this is going to be good. They
Yeah.
could hear me.
Well, they aren't doing a show with you. I have to hear you, buddy. I love
I
you.
wasn't talking to you.
Well, then stop it. Counselor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please, Susie. No place like the White House. Do we agree? Agree. Right, Mr. Kraft? No place like the White House. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll maybe discuss a couple of general topics. This is a board meeting for the Trump Kennedy Center, but we'll go into a couple of other things that we have the media present. It's always present, unfortunately, constantly. And I'll say a few words about what's happening in the Middle East. And if you have a couple of questions, we'll do that, and then we'll get on with our board meeting. So, thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful group of very, very smart, talented patriots at this table. Our powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many, many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well.
Oh, they're good.
They've been a terror for 47 years, and now I guess the world, through the United States, with the help of Israel, is doing what should have been done many years ago. Should have been done many years ago. Since the beginning of the conflict, we've struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran, and these have been mostly commercial and military targets. We've achieved a 90% reduction in their ballistic missile launches and a 95% reduction in drone attacks. The missiles are trickling in now at very low levels because they don't have too many missiles left. We've also attacked the manufacturing plants, where the places where they manufacture the missiles and the drones. And that's going on today. We just hit 3 of them today. And it's getting very hard for them to manufacture. More than 100 Iranian naval vessels have been sunk or destroyed over the last week and a half. That has to be some kind of a record. Additional strikes continue to launch from all directions every single hour. As you know, we attacked Carg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes. We didn't want to do that, but that we will do that. We can do that on 5 minutes' notice. It'll be over. But for purposes of someday rebuilding that country. I guess we did the right thing, but it may not stay that way. Just one simple word and the pipes will be gone too, but it'll take a long time to rebuild that. We are aggressively dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, and ability to rebuild its missiles and drone capability is getting down to close to zero. And we're hammering their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, with more than 30 mine-laying ships destroyed. We hit, to the best of our knowledge, all of their mine-laying ships. Now they can put them on other types of ships, I guess, and drop them in, but we don't know that any have even been dropped in. We're not sure that any have been. That's a big negative for them if they do it. It's a form of suicide. But we don't know that they have dropped any in, but we've hit all 30 of their ships and destroyed them. They're all at the bottom of the sea. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. You know, we get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait, and some countries get much more. Japan gets 95%. China gets 90%. Many of the Europeans get quite a bit. South Korea gets 35%. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait. We have it in very good shape. The countries, I said, we've already taken care of Iran, but now, because of the fact that literally a single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, and it's fairly close range because it is a tight area, and which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon. Iran has always used that as an economic weapon, and it's not going to be able to be used very long. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left. But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that was said, because and I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them, and if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I knew about the Strait, that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago. Predicted all of this stuff. You guys were very generous in that. I predicted all of it. I predicted Osama bin Laden would knock out the World Trade Center. I made that prediction a year before he did it. I said, you better get him. He's a bad guy. I watched him be interviewed one time, and I said, that's a bad guy. You better get him. 1 year before, exactly.
Thank you, 17 Patriots for Truth. Thank you.
You can even check about a year before the World Trade Center then came down. President Clinton actually had a shot at him, and he didn't take it. Unfortunately, I'm not blaming him for that, but he didn't take it. And he ended up knocking down the World Trade Center, but I predicted that too. I predicted a lot of things. We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait for blood. I mean, these people literally need it. 95% of their energy or their oil comes out of the Strait, and they should be in here very happily helping us. And it's incredible. We have we're number one in oil by double now. We drill, baby, drill. We're double any other nation, and it's going to be soon triple any other nation. And that doesn't include Venezuela, who's been great. By the way, the relationship with Venezuela has been fantastic. Literally millions of barrels of oil are being taken out and it's been a great help, and it's been to their great benefit. The president has done a really good job. We get along with him really well. But we've taken out millions of barrels of oil and brought to Houston and other places for to the refineries. We have refineries set up specifically for that, and it's been a great relationship. And more and more is happening. It's a tremendous oil source, and we're stepping it up very rapidly. The big companies are going in, and they will actually numbers in a pretty short period of time. Numbers that they've never been able to do, we'll be doing. There's a lot of oil under that land. We strongly encourage the other nations to get involved with us and get involved quickly and with great enthusiasm. I have that from a number of them, and I'd like to say their names, but frankly, I don't know if they would want me to or not, because maybe they don't want to be targeted. But I say, wouldn't matter if you're targeted or not, because this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now. It wasn't a paper tiger 2 weeks ago. It's a paper tiger now. So now we're going to get down to the reason. We'll take a couple of questions in a moment, but we're going to get down to the reason we're here today. Actually, this was set up a long time ago. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. Over the past year, we've made incredible strides to restore the true purpose and prestige of this revered institution. Together, we're going to ensure it remains the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. And I don't know that it ever really reached that stage, but it will over a period of time. We're rebuilding it. It's in very, very bad condition. It's been it's been somewhat of a disaster, to be honest with you. It's been let go to hell. That's what they've done. They did a poor job. They spent money in the wrong places. They built some theaters underneath that nobody uses, little ones, tiny theaters that cost like $300 million. And the money was spent incorrectly and wrong. We're dealing with some networks on the possibility of renting those little theaters. Nobody's going to use them. They want the big halls. The halls are going to be incredible. They're in bad shape, but when they're completed, the bones are potentially something that could be unbelievable. So I want to, before we begin, I want to thank Rick Grinnell. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's been unbelievable. He was the ambassador, as you know, to Germany. There was no happier woman in the world than Angela Merkel. Angela. She called me, "Thank you, sir, thank you." Although she liked Rick a lot, there was nobody happier that he was no longer going to be the ambassador to Germany. He was difficult for them. He was not your typical ambassador. He was the opposite. He would do what was best for the United States, not for Germany. And I want to tell you, he did a great job. So good that I put him in charge of a thing called intelligence. And something he didn't really want to do, but he did it, and he did it incredibly well. There were a lot of leakers. He found out the leakers. And when he didn't find out who the leaker was in a certain area, he fired everybody. And he went into one room where there was leaks coming out. These are long-term problems that these various places have had. And he said, "Who's the one that leaked this?" And they wouldn't admit it, so he fired the whole room. And he did a good job, I'll tell you. He was very good. And during this transition period, I asked Rick if he would run it, because we wanted to see. And if you remember when we first took it over, I didn't do it with enthusiasm. I did it because somebody had to do it, had to turn it around, because it was failing. It would have closed, and physically it would have almost fallen down. It was in very bad shape. The steel columns outside, as an example, were meant to be covered. You know, exposed steel is unusual to have in building. What I do best in life is build. I build buildings really well and under budget and ahead of schedule. That's what I do. Unlike the Fed building, which is going to cost billions of dollars. It may never open. I mean, right now, we have a wonderful Kevin, a wonderful new head of the Fed coming in. I don't know if he'll ever be able to occupy this complex that was destroyed by Jerome, too late, Powell. I call him too late because he's always too late with interest. Should cut interest rates. He should cut them right now. They should have a special meeting. What's a better time to cut interest rates than now? A third grade student would know that. But that's a terrible thing. But what I do is I build great stuff. And what we're going to do is, right outside. In fact, if you look behind me, see the nice gold curtains? If you want to look into a nice foundation and you want to see a lot of work, very deep, very, very deep for specific reasons, we have a magnificent ballroom being built because this is the biggest room and it holds like 98 people for dinner. But behind me, you're going to have a ballroom that this building and the people occupying it, in particular, every president for 150 years has clamored for a ballroom, a large, beautiful room. This is a cocktail room, and this whole floor will end up being a cocktail room for the cocktail area, or pre-area for the ballroom before dinners. So we'll have heads of state. We can't even do a heads of state dinner. Usually what they do is they would do them on the lawn with a tent. But when it rains, the lawn is very low. And you know the land in Washington. It was built on swampy, wet land. And when it rains and you have the king of Saudi Arabia, we have as an example, the king of the UK, I would say king of England, who's a great guy. He's coming in very soon. And when it rains, you know what happened? The rain would go over their feet. It would be about 4 or 5 inches over their shoes. This was not good. And it rained a lot. So we're building finally, because I do that. And by the way, no taxpayer money. I want to put that zero. It's on time, on budget. It'll be under budget. We're having it under budget, other than we've upgraded it in terms of the marbles we're using. We're using onyx and stones that are incredible. But it'll be something really spectacular. I'm looking at Mr. Steve Wynn, who's over there. He built a spectacular building, and he knows Trump builds a spectacular building. I build better buildings than him. I don't care what he said. But Steve is over here, and he really, with his incredible wife, Andrea, and thank you both for being here. Andrea is on the board, and Steve is so in love with his wife, he asked whether or not he could come. And I can say the same thing for the great Bob Kraft. He's got a wife that's so wonderful. He said, "Do you think I could come?" She didn't have to accept that, She could have said no. But Bob said, "I would like to come." So, Bob, we will not let you vote, although his vote would be a good vote. He will vote for the proper thing. But it's good to have you both here. These are two great couples that know a lot about the things I'm talking about, like fixing, whether it's building a stadium or building a building. They know how to do it. So thank you, Steve, very much. But we've made incredible strides over the past year. If you remember, I said I want to run it for a year just to see, because the place is falling down. It's horrible. Air conditioning, heating is going to be ripped out in its entirety, and it needs new. It's old. It's how many years is it, Rick? What's the total? 50, almost, over 50. And we have 50-year-old air conditioning, more than that actually, and it's in bad shape. Everything's in bad shape. It's got to be redone. So I said, let's run it for a year just to see how it works. It's better than, you can't just go into something and try and figure it out. And we figured it out over the year, and you have to close it, putting new marbles in, beautiful, beautiful marbles. When you do marbles, you can't have people walking over the marble every night as it's drying and setting and going to a play. So we thought the best way, what I know best in the world is construction. The best way to do it is close it, do it properly, and reopen it, have a grand reopening. And when it's finished, it's going to be far better than it was when it was originally built. When it was originally built, it was good. It has one thing that's very good. It has great sound. I think there's a lot of luck in sound. You have some of the big opera houses. I don't want to get involved with saying which one, but in New York, as an example, where the acoustics were never good, and they've ripped it apart 4 times and rebuilt it, and it was never good. The good thing about the Kennedy Center, the acoustics are good. and they'll only be enhanced based on what we're doing. A lot of it has to do with the stones and the stones you use, the marbles you use, etc. Over the past year, we've made incredible strides to restore the true purpose and prestige that this building will soon gain, I think, at a higher level than it had before. Together, we're going to ensure it remains the finest and will become the finest performing arts facility anywhere in the world. It's got the location, and it will have the building. It's got good bones. It's got good structure. Again, they wanted to originally cover the exposed steel. It was painted a cheap gold, and we turned it into a very expensively painted white, very heavy coat of very powerful white paint meant for steel, exposed steel. A very different kind of paint, but it's almost like putting a stone over the top of it. And the color is white, shiny white, and it looks, a lot of people have commented, it looks so much
So shiny.
before they had the steel painted gold, and the gold was very cheap. There's actually never been a paint that's made that will look like gold. Steve will tell you that. You either gold leaf it or use real gold bullion, or you use a different color, Steve. Nobody's ever been able to make a gold paint that looks real. Little minor thing for the media. I'm sure you're thrilled with hearing that. But there's never been a paint. I said, someday I'm going to discover a paint where you don't have to actually use gold leaf. Gold leaf is a very, very big and expensive process, but it's a beautiful thing, but not when you use paint. So we got rid of the gold columns, which looked always terrible. They look cheap and they look fake. Very much like the media, actually. And we took the columns and we painted them white. Before we painted them, Matt, very importantly, we structuralized them. We replaced a bad steel that was very badly rusting. I mean, these are columns that are holding up a building. And we had to replace areas of columns that were actually rusted out because it was in very bad shape. It's not even describable how bad this building was, both inside and out. I want to thank Rick Grinnell, but you really did a great job, Rick, on this, and we appreciate it. I'm looking for your next venture, because he really was, there was a story he got fired. He didn't get fired. He was here for a short period of time, for a year, figuring it out with Matt and everybody else. And Matt now is going to take over, and he's a pro at construction, great at construction. And I think Matt would like to run the facility too. He's fallen in love with it. And I think he'd do a good job. But if I don't think he will do a good job, I'll say, Matt, you're fired. I'm getting somebody else. So you're under no pressure, Matt, okay? It's like Bob Kraft. If a football player doesn't perform well, typically you will fire him immediately, Bob. Do you ever let them stay around for 4 or 5 years if they're bad? Not too many times, right? So, anyway, I learned from you. So I want to thank also Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's been fantastic. I don't know, is Pam here someplace? Oh, hello, Pam. Good. She's been great. And the Speaker of the House, he's got the easiest job of anybody in government. He's got a majority of 2. I don't like to say 1 because it varies, but between 1, 2, and 3. And I think you're the only man that's ever lived that's able to be very happy about it. In fact, when we get up to 3, every once in a while we get up to 3. Actually, for a period of time, we had it up to 4, and then we had a death. And death is very bad when you're the Speaker and you have a majority of 2 or 3. But we had a death, and then we had another death, and we had some things, and it's
Rumble Wallet gold donation. Thank you, Midnight's Watch.
We had one man who was very ill. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. I don't know. I won't mention his name. Should I? Do other people know his name? Do you want to mention it? He'll be proud. Go ahead. Tell him the story.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
What was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's it was grim. That's what I was going to say. I don't think
With
he
a
would
heart
mind.
problem, by the way. This was a heart problem.
So, the long story short, the president called him.
I love our
to encourage
president.
him and thank him, and they had a conversation. And the president mentioned in the course of the conversation, you know how to get my doctors involved, and they did. And within a number of hours, they took him to Walter Reed Emergency Surgery. The man has a new lease on life. He acts like he's 30 years younger, and he walked into the conference meeting, and we thought we'd seen a ghost. And I spoke with him over the weekend, and he's encouraged and thankful, and he thanks the president for his leadership and intervention. And thank you.
He
It's
actually
amazing.
called Mike. Mike called me and he said, "Sir, we're up by 3, but we're going to lose 1 by June." I said, "Who?" Neil Dunn. He's a great congressman. Incredible. He called to say that he was terminal, really bad heart. There's nothing they can do. I said, "That's bad." Number 1, it was bad because I liked him. Number 2, it was bad because I needed his vote. But he really said, "Mike, I'm going to last this out for the president and you, and however long I live," I mean, it looks like June is the time, but however long I live, I'm going to be voting for you. I mean, how many people are going to say that? Most of them are going to say, "Mike, I'm retiring immediately. That's the end."
He's an extraordinary
But
man.
he didn't do that. It was really impressive. And then I realized I have doctors in the White House. The White House doctors are incredible, and they've helped me with other people. They're helping me with people right now. People that are very sick are like they're miracle workers. And I said I have to call them, and I called the 2 doctors. They're both great, and they immediately went over to see the congressman, and he was on the operating table like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And it was a long operation. They gave him more stents and more everything that you could have. I think he's got everything that you could possibly have. And they called up. They said, "Sir, I think he'll be fine." I said, "You got to be kidding." He said, "I think he'll be fine." And Mike was telling me the story that the other day he came into a meeting for the first time in a long while. Go ahead.
Well, it was incredible. I mean, he has a new lease on life. He has more energy than a man half his age, and very encouraged and encouraged all of us. So, again, a testament to great leadership. And
I'm betting Democrats aren't liking
hats
that.
off to Neil Dunn and his beautiful wife and family. He's an extraordinary individual.
And just, because I don't want to have a terrible story about this, I did it for him first and for the vote second. But it was a close second, actually. But I did it for the vote second. All right? I want to also introduce Susie Wiles, who's fantastic. She's our chief of staff. And she's an amazing person, an amazing fighter. And she announced a little...
Now, again, real quick, all right, he's going to tell you about her stage 1 breast cancer diagnosis, okay? But I just want to take a minute to talk to the fake MAGA on X, okay? Because X told me that Susie Wiles was bad, so she's bad, Shady. X told me that Pam Bondi was bad, so she's bad, Shady. But look at your president. Honoring the very amazing, strong women that are in his cabinet, Shady, and always talking very highly of them. So if I was to watch President Trump, like we should, right? That's where we get our information from, not some influencer that was fired or whatever by President Trump and actually are butthurt. Our whole movement has been infiltrated, guys. Okay, all of these, influencers that are a lot bigger, right? They all flipped on MAGA. Okay, Q told us that there was sleepers, yay, or they're say people once yay will turn nay. Okay, sleepers, they're sleepers, guys. They've been here to never Trumpers never went away, Shady. But what my point is that we listen to President Donald J. Trump as to who he likes, because these people that he likes, Bondi, Susie Wiles advises. Trump is in control, though, guys. Trump is in control of Tulsi. Trump is in control of his whole entire cabinet. The guy he's a control, for lack of a better term, a control freak. But because he wants it done right, Shady Groove.
Yeah, and look at a number of different things. It's not just Susie and Pam, but also a number of the other people in his administration, namely Tulsi Gabbard.
Mm-hmm.
So all the people that are out there, the people that are telling you that there's something terribly wrong with Susie Wiles and there's something terribly wrong with Pam Bondi are no different than the people telling you that there's something terribly wrong with Tulsi Gabbard.
That's right.
I don't care who they are. Don't care where they come from. They do not have more information than Donald Trump. I don't care what kind of numbnuttery they like put down on a piece of paper and want to point at someone's past history. Hugh very specifically explained to us that people were going to be given an opportunity to do the right thing. And given the good faith taking of that opportunity, then they would be given the opportunity. That's what we're all watching here. We're not watching a bunch of people that are surreptitiously subverting the Donald Trump administration like we saw in Trump 1.0 and the whole Flynn, Chris Christie crew. What you're seeing right now is people honestly trying to get to the bottom of it. So what Tulsi Gabbard is doing is she's digging into this election stuff, and she is trying to figure out, are these people that have been feeding us all of this stuff real, or are they lying? And the only people that can do that, or the only person that can do that, would be the intelligence agencies and their investigative arms. Tulsi Gabbard sits at the head of the 17 top intelligence agencies in America, and you got people out there like Dilley and McMahon trying to act like she's somehow a commie plant.
Yeah, and more, too. I mean, it's just crazy, Shady.
Well, those are the two I see going after Tulsi specifically, but yes, there's more.
But Shady, InfoWars told me that Trump is tricked.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. And InfoWars, you should see their comment about Mark Levin now, or Mark Levin.
Jeez.
You know, like right now, like 30 minutes ago, Alex Jones, I was just looking, like going off the rail because Donald Trump decided to support Mark Levin. Like also with Bibi, you know, these different people are making, these different people that are acting this way, they make you have easier decisions. Like, I'm starting to think that Bibi Netanyahu isn't the absolute Zionist stooge that everybody wants to say that he is, because he's being puppeted by MAGA. Therefore, he's off the quote-unquote Zion reservation, if you will, at least for the time that he's doing what it is that Donald Trump is telling him to do.
Yeah, Trump is in control, for sure.
Trump is in control of all of it, including the Trump Kennedy Center.
Yeah, the Trump, I love that. This is a great comment. He wants the very best of us, so you have to be controlling to get things done correctly, or you have chaos. Amen to that, A. Clegg. That's a great comment.
That's what leaders do.
That's what leaders do.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we haven't
everybody
had
has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. For example, let me just give you an example. How many times do you get Trump is a P3DO, right? And because there's nobody arrested in the Epstein files, okay?
Right.
So fast forward to last night to what's his nut, Shady Groove. What's that guy's name that hosted the Oscars? What's his name, guys? Why am I forgetting? Oh, Conan O'Brien, who actually was on the, he was in Bohemian Grove meeting, Shady Groove, or, you know. So this guy is saying the exact same thing, okay, as the operators are saying, Shady. So what I'm trying to say is we kind of discussed it this morning. Once you kind of see the narratives that they try to seed, right? You can see right through and see who's on what team and who's on not what team. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense because, like, you know, like what we were saying last week, you boil it down to like the way this whole thing is going on with Iran. The people that are supporting the Iranian regime are not supporting the Iranian people. Like all these people that are acting like, you know, the Thomas Masseys, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, they're all acting like, you know, what's happening in Iran is evil. They're not standing up for the Iranian people. The Iranian people want this regime of mullahs gone. They want what we're doing done. Yeah. So does the majority of the rest of the American people. But interestingly enough, all of the commie infiltrators are doing the same thing they were doing. Like they're occupying Colombia like Antifa does. They're screaming pro-Palestine. They're doing all of these different things that are seemingly lining up directly with what the narratives were during World War II about Jewish people. Yeah. It's just very interesting how we can clearly see an operation by a worldwide cult that uses secret societies trying to throw a religion under the bus to another religion so that we can get three religions fighting each other, and the surreptitious infiltrators among all three religions sit there and divvy up the spoils.
So let's look at this. This is the sauce on what fake MAGA is saying is exactly what a Bohemian Grove member is saying, guys. I mean, do you understand that they worship a stone owl and do weird things, guys? And they bring in male prostitutes to service the moguls, okay? That's what this guy is on, the Bohemian Grove, okay? So here's Bohemian Grove member Conan O'Brien saying the exact same thing that some of the fake MAGA are saying. It's pretty weird, isn't it?
Most of the fake MAGA. Their messaging has synced up.
First time since 2012 that there are no British actors nominated for Best Actor or Best Actress. Yeah. British spokesperson said, yeah, well, at least we arrest our pedophiles. So, we got that going for us. First time.
While he's speaking to a room of a bunch of P3DOs.
That Ricky Gervais directly called out just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And now he's taking the same narrative as all of these other asshats, Shady. I mean, isn't it crazy?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's perfect because Tucker Carlson is of that ilk. Marjorie Taylor Greene is of that ilk. All
the
of
whole
these
Flynn
people,
Wars, if they're all connected.
Every single one of them. Nick Fuentes, also Megyn Kelly. All of these people are part of the network. Fuentes was built by Alex Jones. Candace Owens was built by InfoWars. These people have loyalties that are not seen by you because you don't know where they came from.
And I don't think you all remember this, but I'm old enough to remember when Tucker Carlson got fired from CNN, he went on Alex Jones immediately with his little bow tie. Remember that, Shady?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're completely
part of the network.
That.
We also have him. He actually hired the Manhattan Madam, Shady, who ties to Roger Stone, who ties to General Flynn, who ties to all of them. They're all connected. Do you want Bannon or Stone? It's the same thing, guys. Do you want Candace or Tucker? It's the same thing, guys.
Same network.
Same network.
Same network. And let me tell you something. The network is not conservative. I don't care what any of you say. If you look at me and you want to make an argument to me with a straight face that Roger Stone has conservative ideology, I'm going to laugh you out of the room. These people are opportunists. Candace Owens don't have a conservative bone in her body. She's an opportunist. Tucker Carlson doesn't and has never had a conservative bone in his body. They're playing a role. What they're doing is that they're being an actor in a role that says, okay, how do we script out and write down what is a conservative? The reason that they're always wrong so often is because they don't really have conservative ideology. They have a different ideology, but they're playing a part. They're acting like a conservative. They think that you would think that. Like these people think that this is what you think. That's how come when a real conservative interfaces with their information, you're very confused because you don't think anything like what these people think. Your mind can't possibly go. I mean, we're seeing some of the text messages from Tucker Carlson about, sending to Hunter Biden about, I can't believe that they're doing this stuff to you. This is disgusting. This is horrible.
Yeah. We reported on that years ago.
Yes. Meanwhile, you want to talk about a P3DO? Look into that laptop.
Yeah.
You want to see for it. It's there.
Yeah, it is there. Real quick, Moody Magpie actually has a great joke. Conan O'Brien should have said, I have a British source that says we don't arrest our P3DOs. In fact, we give them knighthoods. Right, Jimmy Savile?
Yes. That's exactly what they do. They promote them.
Good comment, Moody. All right, let's go back to Donald J. Trump and let's pray for Susie Wiles. Here we go.
Susie bad, Tulsi bad, Pam bad.
Bad.
Trump good.
Minor difficulty, which will be in good shape. Good shape for he'll be around for a long time. She had a diagnosis. You probably saw it, and she's going to take care of it immediately, as opposed to waiting. She said, "Let's do it now." I said, "Do it immediately," because with that particular ailment, the faster the better. That's the only thing I know about it. The faster the better. She's going to do it immediately. So she just started actually. And she's going to be in great shape. The prognosis there is excellent, beyond excellent. So,
thank you, sir.
But who needs it, right?
That's right.
Who needs it? So before we took over, just a year ago, the legendary, this wonderful place was literally on the verge of collapse, both from a financial standpoint, maybe more from a financial standpoint, but also from a physical standpoint. Necessary maintenance has been ignored. The programming was very woke and out of touch with reality. And we had an orchestra that lost like $18 million a year, and they subsidized it every year. So what kind of an orchestra loses 18? And I'm being nice when I say 18, it was much more. And I started looking at the programming. They had tremendous union difficulties, like 19 different unions, and driving everybody crazy. And I think the unions are going to be great. I've always gotten along with unions. As you know, I got great union support. But you had 19 unions every time somebody wanted to put on a play, the groups of people. And it's they say it was like Broadway, but worse. And you don't get worse than Broadway when it comes to the unions. I've watched that for many years. The programming was terrible. And they had a budget deficit of about $26 million minimum. Owed a lot of money. We're out borrowing money, which is a lot of people don't understand. So under the leadership of this exceptionally talented and rich board, it's a very rich board. Not everybody, but most of you are loaded. Ike Perlmutter's got so much money. Look at Ike Perlmutter. He ended up being the largest owner of Disney. Started with, was it $100 or less? It was a little less, Ike, right? He didn't speak English, and he became the largest owner of Disney. Right? But then they went woke and he sold the stock. He didn't like Mickey Mouse being woke, right, Ike? But he's one of the most brilliant business people. Thank you, Ike. It's great. And Lori, thank you very much for being here. So I think it's Lori that's on the board, though, right, Lori? What's with these husbands? All the husbands are traveling. I think it's the White House. I got all the husbands with the wives. That's never happened. Boy, oh boy, what great relationships. My wife is going to have to speak to me. This is pretty good. The biggest guys in the country travel with their wives to come to a meeting. But it has something to do with the White House, right, Ike? Right? You don't want to see me. You want to see the White House because it's a special building. But thank you. And congratulations on an amazing career. Most people don't know Ike Perlmutter. Isidore Perlmutter. And started with nothing and built a vast fortune just by deal after deal. Did you ever have a bad deal, Ike? Which was that? Don't tell. See how honest he is? Most people would say no. He says one, and it couldn't have been very bad. Great to have you. So under the leadership of this board, which is, as you see, incredible, we're achieving a very dramatic and quick turnaround. We got rid of all of the DEI. Some of the news media loves DEI, but we got rid of it. Maybe you're right.
All of them.
Brought back patriotic and family-friendly programming, and last year we raised over $130 million to keep this place going. Otherwise, it would have been closed. The building, let's call it the Kennedy Center from that time, was losing so much money it could not have stayed alive if we didn't come in as a group of people and a lot of wealthy people that made a lot of contributions. So with the Trump Kennedy Center honors alone, we raised this year a record $23 million, which was double what they had ever done before, $23 million. There's still much to do. The previous management left us a facility in very bad condition. Abysmal is the word, and everything from busting pipes and leaks to serious electrical and structural problems. And some of it we fixed, but most of it we're saving for during the construction period because we'll do a much better job of it that way. Major renovations are required to keep the facility functional, and that'll start right after July 4th. We're going to have a little bit of a celebration, not a big deal, but a little bit of a celebration on July 4th. We'll have a little party. And then after that, we close or we start construction. We're fully financed. As I announced in February, after a one-year review based on input from highly respected experts and subject to board approval today, we determined, it's a little late for the board because we've already announced it, but these are minor details, but I think everybody agrees. But subject to board approval, we determined that the fastest way to bring the Trump Kennedy Center to the highest level of success, beauty, and grandeur is to cease the entertainment operations for a 2-year period of time as we complete high-quality, really high-quality construction. We've already purchased seating, as an example. we've already purchased a lot of the marbles and some of the things that are hard to get. Getting quality marble is very hard. Takes a long time.
And we're going to pause it right here real quick. We go ahead and take off here in a second for a break. But I want to get to the question and answer part as well. See if they're going to allow the fake news to ask questions. It'll be very interesting. But I also want to focus on what President Trump said on the gaggle in the Air Force One as well. There's a lot of great clips out of that. He actually told one reporter that she goes, "Shh, you're really annoying." I love
obnoxious.
Or obnoxious. That's what it was. Yeah. So he calls it like it is, guys. The fake news is spending more time, helping Iran than helping their own country. What does that tell you, Shady Groove?
It tells you that they are here to advocate for something other than America first.
And we'll be right back after these beautiful boom messages.
Hello to all of you beautiful patriots out there.
First of all, let me just thank you all for supporting this show. We wouldn't be here without you. But I have a huge announcement regarding donations.
It has come to our attention that using the Rumble app is taking an additional 30% of your donation to the show.
Let me explain. According to our TOS, Rumble takes 20% of all donations made through the web browser.
And that's a 20%. It's a good deal if you consider other platforms like YouTube and such.
There is a hidden cost that we just found out. For example, we received the generous $500 donation from Spill Tea, and thank you so much for that, from the Rumble app on Apple. So Rumble took 20% and Apple took an additional 30%. We brought that to Rumble and they said, well, Rumble's take of tips and donations is 20%. That's if the transaction is done through the web browser. If using the Android or iOS app, it's an additional 30% collected by those platforms.
So please use the web browser to make your donations to the show and avoid the hidden fees by Apple and Android.
That's right. You can also support us at GiveSendGo/HelpMGShow, mg.show/donate. We have PayPal and Cash App. Both are at RealMGShow or $RealMGShow. Please help us out. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The MG Show. Not funded by dark money, but funded by listeners like you.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
Remember, thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that bell. Stay tuned, we're going to start right now.
open yours, a voice they can't silence, breaking through the noise. They pull the strings, they set the stage, divide us with wars, lock us in a cage. Race and class, faith and fear, they scream so loud, but we're still here. Through MG show, the truth breaks free. MG music lifts us, a rallying plea. Power to the people, hear the call ignite. Dark to light, we're stepping out tonight. They're losing grip, their shadows fade. Together we stand unafraid. Oh, power to the people. Oh, we'll never let it go. They shame the brave, they chain the free. Group think marching, but not for me. Hollywood glitters, leaders deceive, but MG show shines, makes us believe. Defend the chaos, push the dread. Nuclear whispers, words they bled. MG music plays a rebel sound. The truth is clear, it's all around. Power to the people, hear the call ignite. Dark to light, we're stepping out tonight. They're losing grip, their shadows fade. Together we stand unafraid. Oh, power to the people. Oh, we'll never let it go. We planned, we fought, we took the reins. Through the storm, through the chains. Antifa rises, fears their game. But MG show calls out their shame. Sheep may follow blind and weak. MG music wakes us, truth we seek. God bless the brave, the heart sincere. From every shore, the call is clear. Power to the people, hear the call ignite. Dark to light, we're stepping out tonight. They're losing grip, their shadows fade. Together we stand unafraid. Oh, power to the people. Oh, we'll never let it go. Stand firm, be strong, the words resound. All men are equal on sacred ground. MG show leads, MG music sings. The people's power spreads its wings.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. Oh, power to the people.
We rise.
We rise.
Yes. Wow, I love that song. Shady Groove, welcome back to the MG Show, hour number 2. That song is great. I still love it. Wow.
MG plays the rebel sound. The rebel sound is the truth. The truth is always going to be the rebel sound since the ancient times of the current control grid's creation. The rebel sound will always be the truth. The truth will be what they target to silence. The truth will be what they target to undermine. The truth will be what they target to manipulate. And now you're currently seeing the expert psychological operating manipulators. Look at the leg up that we have here with this audience. On everybody else is just now, right now, today, starting to catch up on what it is we've been studying intensely here for about 5 years now. So the whole architecture of, from when we take the InfoWars thing, the way that they built all of this, the credibility that was garnered by Alex Jones, quote unquote, infiltrating Bohemian Grove. Do not believe for a second that is true. I live out here in Oregon. I've actually, since I've been out here in the last 10 years, I met a couple of people that live and own property down there, not too far away from Bohemian Grove. And it's very interesting to get their perspective on some silliness like some guy named Alex Jones sneaking into Bohemian Grove, because you know what? It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
You're physically impossible to sneak into that place. You can't sneak in there. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. And so the things that you're seeing right now in front of you, the direction, the actions of, say, Conan O'Brien and Alex Jones, both Bohemian Grove, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, all Tavistock intelligence ops for the clowns in America. These things are connected in a way that you can't see. But the reality is the rebel sound brings them out, because the truth about who they are tries to forces them into the arena to defend their hypocrisy.
Wow. I love that. Well said. Well said. And that's exactly what, and all of those people that they've all attacked this show, including Democrats, including Hillary Clinton, all of them.
Yeah. Every single one of them came to tell you that us sitting here talking about this anonymous poster known as Q is somehow subversive. Meanwhile, they go to Bohemian Grove. Meanwhile, they have people on islands. Meanwhile, they're like cohorting with Roger Stone. Meanwhile, they're running.
Roger Stone's at Nexium.
Meanwhile, they're like making MAGA look like a bunch of vigilante idiots on January the 6th.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Kat Gibson, I've been here for years, folks. I just worked the vampire shift. Oh my gosh. Welcome in today. I appreciate you. Thank you, chat. EMP hands, one subscription as well, guys. Keep them coming. We really appreciate you because we are funded by listeners like you. Let's get into President Trump taking questions, guys.
And real quick, I wanted to share with you guys something we haven't really talked about.
Wait 1 second. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to share with you guys real quick that one thing you're now currently seeing on Rumble is they're starting to integrate the Rumble Shorts. And so as you're like looking for the show or going through, we're publishing Rumble Shorts. So if you could take a few minutes to maybe repost some of those Rumble Shorts, that actually helps us out as well to kind of get the view count and stuff out further on the app Rumble, because there's a whole bunch of MAGA hating, quote unquote, alt-right media on Rumble that are currently crumbling. And you could point people back to a place where they could find some actual MAGA content by reposting some of our shorts.
Yeah, well, we would love that. Thank you guys so much. And the biggest one is the meme that I fixed, with Dilly Meme Team. I added Roger Stone.
Yes.
You can't have General Flynn without Roger Stone, guys.
Nope. You can't. You can't sit there and pretend like you're going to attack Tulsi Gabbard and on your own, and us not know that it's coming from Roger Stone, because Tulsi is obviously not doing what he told her to do.
That's right. United States of Q, $5. Tom McDonald's new song Anti raps about Q stuff. That's cool. Very cool. Thank you for that. And let's get into it, because he starts off with CNN. You guys ready?
This is CNN.
Check them out.
It's a great honor to have you here, and we're going to do a great job with the Trump Kennedy Center. Okay, yes, please. CNN.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not CNN, I'm Daily Wire, but thank you for the question. Numerous countries have told me they are on their way. Can you give us a hint what they are, what that entails, how soon they might be there?
You mean who are the countries?
Yes, sir.
I'd rather not say yet, but we'll be announcing Marco Rubio and the various people that are doing that will be announcing. And I have to tell you, we have some that are really enthusiastic. They're coming already. They've already started to get there. It takes a little while to get there. It's like, in some cases, you have to travel an ocean. So it doesn't go that fast, but it'll go fast. And we have some that are fairly local that are doing it. But we'll give you a list. Some are very enthusiastic, and some are less than enthusiastic. And I assume some will not do it. I think we have one or two that will not do it, that we've been protecting for about 40 years at, tens of billions of dollars, Mr. Speaker. So I'll be reporting that to you in the House and the Senate, and I'll say, why are we protecting countries that don't protect us? And I've always felt that was a weakness of NATO. We were going to protect them, but I always said, when in need, they won't protect us. Now, this isn't need. Need would be one of the big boys. But I will say that we built the greatest military in the world, and we protect people. And if we need their mine boats, or if we need anything, any piece of apparatus that they may have because of a situation that they have, they should be jumping to help us because we've helped them for years stay out of wars. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Can you tell us if you have spoken with French President Macron about the coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz? Have you been speaking with the French President?
What does that mean?
Have you been speaking with the French President Macron about the coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I have spoken to him. He's been on a scale of 0 to 10. I'd say he's been an 8. Not perfect, but it's France.
Are you
we don't expect perfect.
We know the history of France, don't we, guys?
Help with the reopening of Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think he's gonna help. I mean, I'll let you know. I spoke to him yesterday. I don't do a hard sell on them because my attitude is we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them. But it's interesting. I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react. Because I've been saying for years that if we ever did need them, they won't be there. Not all of them, but they won't be there. I was very surprised with the United Kingdom. Because the United Kingdom, 2 weeks ago, I said, why don't you send some ships over? And he really didn't want to do it. I said, you don't want to do it. We've been with you. You're our oldest ally. And we spend a lot of money on, NATO and all of these things to protect you. I mean, we're protecting them. We're working with them on Ukraine. Ukraine's thousands of miles away, separated by a vast ocean. We don't have to do that, but we did it. Well, Biden did it. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Biden got taken to the cleaners. But we worked with them in Ukraine. We don't need to work with them in Ukraine. And then they tell us that we have a mine ship around, and they don't want to do it. I think it's terrible. No, I was very surprised. I told him, we requested 2 aircraft carriers, which they had, and he didn't really want to do it. And then right after the war essentially ended, meaning they were obliterated, he said, I would like to send the aircraft carriers. I said, I don't need them after the war has ended and won. I need it before the war. So I was very upset not upset, I was not happy with the UK. I think they'll be involved, yeah, maybe. But they should be involved enthusiastically. We've been protecting these countries for years with NATO, because NATO is us. You can ask Putin.
Hey, can you pause it just a second?
Fears us.
I hate to jump in and interrupt him, but I think this is very important, and I'd like to just share this with you in this moment so that you can see the dynamic here that we're talking about. Like, why are they so afraid of him? Why are people like Tucker and all these people like shedding their skin, starting to show their real true face right now? It's not because of their choice, and I want you to understand this. They're not choosing to do this. They're doing it because of him and what he's doing to expose them. In other words, during the operation known as Q explained that we are going to force them into the light. Donald Trump is going to maintain, quote unquote, plausible deniability as we push them into the light. Pope will be having a terrible May. All these different things were indicating of how they would basically inadvertently fall into the light, act like they don't really want to. So let's take a couple examples real quick. The man stood there at the State of the Union and he took a big risk. It was a big risk for him to say in the State of the Union to all of them, do you agree with this statement? Are Americans more important than illegal immigrants? And to have half of Congress stay seated, that's exposing them. Now, let's pivot and let's take that example and let's put it right over the example of what you're seeing right now with Iran. He just said, I always wanted the opportunity to show that all of these countries didn't really support us. And until we have the opportunity to show that, then we don't really know. Therefore, again, you're seeing a perfect opportunity to display for everyone to see what is the truth. Does the UK support us? Does France support us? Does any of these other countries that take all of this foreign money and do all of this nonsense in the background against America actually going to stand up? This is his method. This is the method of a leader. This is what a person who has the ability to see things that others can't see can put on display so that as many people as possible could get on board with his opinion. That's why whenever we're talking about the silent majority in America, you're not really talking about a group of people you can point at, because there's a large contingent in this country of very, very intelligent people that can figure things out for themselves if they are shown a good, clear, non-hypocritical example. And I think that he is the greatest human being in the history of mankind to articulate and inadvertently get them to fall into the light.
Absolutely. Well said. Wow. It's he's got that laser pointer and they're like cats. You know what I'm saying?
That's 100%.
Yeah.
That's even a more simple explanation. Exactly right.
He like throws a little and they're like, it ran good.
And everybody's sitting there like, where the hell did cats come from?
He doesn't fear. He has no fear of Europe whatsoever. He fears the United States of America and the military that was built by me in the first term. Yeah.
President, you mentioned the significant amount of oil that China derives from the Middle East. What is the status of your conversation with President Xi in terms of getting China to cooperate, in terms of making the Strait of Hormuz safe for those oil tankers?
Yeah. So China is a great example. They get 91% of their oil from the Hormuz Straits, which we protected for years. And it always bothered me that we have these countries. Japan gets 95% of its from the Straits, the Hormuz Straits. And it always bothered me that we're protecting and we don't need them. We didn't need them before we started dig we must. Dig me must. That's the Trump policy of lots of oil. And we didn't use them very much. It used to be at 10%. Now it's at almost zero. We don't need oil. We have all the oil we need for ourselves. It's one of the great assets that we have. We have more than double what anybody else in terms of oil production. We're at more than double any other country. So we don't need it, but we did it. It's almost, you could say we did it out of habit, which is not a good thing to do. But we did it because we have some good allies there. We have some great Middle Eastern countries there, Israel there. So we did it for a lot of reasons. But it always amazed me that we did it. We never asked for reimbursement. And it was really there to serve other countries, not us. And by the way, we have the Sugar King. The same story. Look at that. Alfie von Hool. Alfie, thank you both very much. That's Pepe here. Pepe. Hi, Pepe.
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 Yeah.
Is Alfie in the backstage? Is he sitting back there waiting for you? No? You doing all right? Pepe is a great friend of all of ours, I think, in the room.
He really is.
And we appreciate you being here. Great to have you. Thank you.
Mr. President, honored.
It's great. Both of you, thank you very much. So go ahead, please.
Mr. President, you've said that Iran does want to make a deal. Now, into the third week of this bombing campaign, what would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the government?
They want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation. They showed all sorts of things happening in the last 2 weeks that never happened. Between their kamikaze boats that don't exist, between blowing up the aircraft carrier, one of the great ships in the world, the Abraham Lincoln, on fire. They showed it on fire. I called the general. I said, General, what's with the Abraham Lincoln? It looks like it's burning down. No, it's not burning down. Not a bullet was ever fired at it, sir. They know better. They said, this is my first glimpse of AI and what they've done with it. They showed buildings in Tel Aviv burning to the ground, high-rises burning. They showed buildings in Qatar. They showed buildings in Saudi Arabia burning, and they weren't burning. They weren't hit. It was all AI based. Terrible. It's terrible. And I think that's the only thing they do well. They're negotiating. And we always talk. When somebody said, well, would you talk? Why would you even talk to them? I talk to everybody because sometimes good things come out of it. But I don't know if they're ready yet. They're taking a pounding. I don't know if they're ready yet. And we don't even know their leaders. Look, all of their leaders are dead, as far as we know. But they're all dead. We don't know who we're dealing with. We knocked out the first group. Then the second group 88 met to pick the leader because the first group was all dead. And the second group got knocked out. They're all dead. Then the third group met. I would think they're a little nervous about meeting. I don't know if they're nervous. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're crazy. If they're not nervous, then they're crazy. But we met with the next group, but we don't know who their leader is. We have people wanting to negotiate. We have no idea who they are. Yeah, please, Peter.
Thanks, President Trump. What are your advisors telling you about the Ayatollah's son, the new supreme leader? What are they telling you about him?
Well, it's not only them, it's you people. I mean, a lot of people are saying that he's badly disfigured. They're saying that he lost his leg, one leg, and he's been hurt very badly. Other people are saying he's dead. Nobody's saying he's 100% healthy. And he hasn't spoken because the Ayatollah would sit and he'd spew hate from a form of a throne. Not as nice as a throne. I like the English throne much better. But it was a fancy chair. But he'd spew hate from his chair. But you'd see him a lot, right? This one we haven't seen at all. So that could be for a lot of different reasons. We don't know, Peter, if he's dead or not.
Now that you've announced,
I will say this: nobody's seen him, which is unusual.
Something else. Now that you've announced that the U.S. has destroyed all of Iran's mine-laying ships, why can't the U.S. just immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we could, but it takes two to tango. We have to get people to take their billion-dollar ship and drive it up.
Happy birthday, P83, $50 Rumble rant. Today is my birthday.
What?
Happy birthday, P83. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I'm having an amazing day.
You're not getting older. You're getting longer.
MAGA is getting stronger, too.
And longer. Wait.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever that means.
Happy birthday, P83.
When Pepe has his big sugar ships coming around and it costs $1 billion, and we say, I think it's okay now, Pepe, take your ship, drive it through the Strait of Hormuz. He may say, let me wait a little while, because it takes...
Give me a minute.
It takes ship owners...
There's that Pepe again, huh?
These ships are very expensive.
He's protecting his sugar.
It can cost up to $2 billion. So they don't want to take a chance that, gee, I think you'll be okay. They got to know it. So they don't have to set, we don't know if they even set any mines. But the thought that they may have is enough to keep people from saying, we don't need it. Now, we are pounding that area, that coast, as you know, left side. We're pounding it, like really pounding it hard. And again, they may have no mine set. We hit every one of their mine droppers. They call it the mine layers, right? The ships. They're pretty sophisticated ships. Every one of them is gone. But it only takes one. So it's a little unfair. You win a war, but they have no right to be doing what they're doing. But we're hitting them very hard. And today is a big day where we're pounding a certain area that has very much to do with the Strait. And I think we'll get it going very soon. In addition, we do have other nations coming in. You need people to watch and people to see. We have other nations coming in. Yes, please.
If the United States is working to secure the Strait of Hormuz for the benefit of other countries like China, and our allies aren't yet stepping up to your standard, is the United States getting back to being the world's policeman?
Look, the United States should not be very much involved. They can on a certain basis. They've been doing it for a long time. But I've always said, if you look back years ago, I said, why aren't we being reimbursed? You know, these are the richest countries in the world. Why aren't we being reimbursed for maintaining the Hormuz Strait? And why aren't we being reimbursed for that? I've said that for years. You can go back. They reported on it yesterday. I've been saying a lot of things about the Straits. Number one, I said it's the one advantage they have, but that's a suicidal advantage because they kill themselves more than they kill the rest of the world. And there are things you can do with time. There are other things you can do, but I think we're going to have the situation straighten out pretty quickly, and I think we're going to have some good help, and I think we're going to be disappointed in some nations too. And I'll let you know who those nations are.
One of your advisors, David Sachs, said the other week that the U.S. should, quote, declare victory and get out of the Iran war.
Yeah,
he also warned that if the conflict escalates, Israel may contemplate the use of a nuclear weapon. Has he shared that assessment with you?
No, yes. And Israel wouldn't do that. Israel would never do that. And there's a theory.
Because Trump's in charge.
Pounded them to hell, and you could just leave now, and it'll take 10 years for them to build back not nearly what they have right now. And I guess that's another theory, but we want to have it ended so that another president doesn't have. Look, for 47 years, no president was willing to do what I'm doing, and they should have done it a long time ago. It would have been a lot easier. There's no president that wanted to do it, and yet every president knew. I've spoken to a certain president, who I like, actually, a past president, former president. He said, I wish I did it. I wish I did, but they didn't do it. I'm doing it. Yeah. I can't tell you that. I don't want to embarrass him. It would be very bad for his career, even though he's got no career left. Go ahead, please.
You mentioned.
How about the man right
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, you mentioned that you're not entirely sure who you're dealing with, who the leadership is in Iran. Do you see a viable opposition movement still in that country following all of the protests that we had seen before the airstrikes and kind of an opposition movement that could become a viable leader in Iran?
Well, the biggest problem, and we have brave people in this room, but the biggest problem that I see is that, they put out a warning, and we have the warning. We get everything they get. And it said any protester that goes onto the street will be immediately shot and killed. This is a little tougher than the American way. This is not quite as tough as nobody can believe it. So I can't imagine. They don't have guns, and the other ones have guns, highly sophisticated machine guns and AK-47s and other kinds of guns. And they did that with the women. So the women had 250,000, even 500 people protesting a year ago. And they shot women right through the middle of the forehead with snipers. And they didn't have to do many. About 10 went down bleeding profusely. And 250 to 500,000 women went running in the other direction. Because they can be brave, but they're not stupid. And they have no gun, and you have snipers in buildings specifically for this reason. So a woman goes down falling, bleeding from the head, and it doesn't take long for that to spread. And when that spreads, that crowd dispenses. And nobody else has been able to do that to the extent that these people are violent. They killed a minimum 2 weeks ago, 32,000 people. So, and they put out actually a notice 2 days ago, if you protest, you will be shot and killed. So, I don't know. I would say Mike Johnson's the only person I know who has the courage to go out in that kind of an atmosphere. I don't think so.
I want to jump in here real quick, too.
Yeah.
Real quick. So it's very interesting because I had the pleasure, I guess, of watching some CNN last night. CNN's very quick to tell us all the stuff that's really happening in Iran. They've got people that are embedded there in Iran, but they were showing us all of the people that are out in the streets that are chanting and protesting death to America. President Trump just told you right there that they have put out a bulletin within the country of Iran that says no protesting or we'll kill you. Just want to square that circle for you.
Your advisors told you anything in terms of how long we can expect gas prices as high as they are right now?
I don't need advisors to tell me that. I know what it is. You know, the Prime Minister of UK, United Kingdom, yesterday told me I'm meeting with my team to make a determination. I said, you don't need to meet it with the team. You're the Prime Minister. You can make your own. Why?
Now, did you hear that? Okay.
Yes.
I don't need any advisors. Okay? Because the advisors that are wanting to be advisors, he won't listen to them. And he knows exactly who they are, Shady Grove.
Man, it's so
Talk
good.
about in control. Are we not saying that this president is in control? He's in control of Bibi and Israel. He's in control of this war. He's in control of his cabinet. He is in control. Patriots are in control.
Absolutely. He's in control of the whole worldwide economy. How's he controlling it? Because he's currently redirecting anybody that might want to buy some oil. You want to buy some oil? There's one market called America. Might want to get on board. Buying from OPEC ain't going to serve you no more. Matter of fact, we're pretty soon going to start using the oil in the sands of Iran to maybe repay some of the people for the destruction that they've caused over there, because we're getting ready to control Iranian oil in a whole different way than the clown's way of controlling it for the last 120 years.
That's right. Wow, this is great, guys.
This is it's historic, man. Every day it seems like we come on here and broadcast something historic, something monumental. Again, another thing that we've never seen before, or didn't see coming, or, oh, wow, who would have ever thought someone would advocate for you and I like this?
I know. And you remember, all of this economic wealth is going into the Treasury. He's sidestepping the Federal Reserve banks. You guys understand the enormity of the economic situation. Most people don't understand economics, and I understand that because the school system failed
Didn't
on
teach you.
economics.
Right.
But this is what's happening. And it's, it's going to come back and help the people of the United States of America, because he is giving it back to you, the people. This government is being given back to you, the people.
And no matter how much Jerome Powell spends on fixing up the Federal Reserve building, it's going to be more. Because it seems like Jerome Powell is like thinking, oh, we're taking in all this revenue. Let's see if we can continue to pour it into the Potomac River and build this basement underneath the Federal Reserve building.
That's right. Sean Linan says the best is yet to come.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, I can't agree with that more.
The best of what we're doing right now will be here in a decade.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to tell you right now, the way economics works, you build a bedrock, you build a strong foundation, and then the building, by the time you get to the roof, you've got such an immaculate structure that you can't believe how well it's functioning for everybody. You're going to see people coming off the streets. You're going to see gas prices down to like $1 a gallon. You're going to be able to borrow money for a house for like 2.5%, maybe less. Like these things, like you want to talk about growing an economy and having a generation of wealth. He's setting it up perfect.
Let me read a couple of comments. Magic Woman says, Trump is a businessman first, not a politician, and he isn't worried about keeping his career as a politician. And that is what scares the power that be so much. Amen to that. Here's one that understands some economics. It all comes down to supply and demand, Clegg. That is absolutely right. Wow. Amazing, isn't it?
It is. And okay, so what are we seeing? You got all the talking heads. They've got it all figured out, right? Trump's bad, Trump bad. Well, meanwhile, guess what we're seeing? Rent prices dropping. Guess what we're seeing? Median home prices dropping. Guess what we're seeing? Oh, there's more people that are selling in the market than are buying. Why? Because about 3.5 million illegal immigrants have decided that they're going to, quote unquote, self-deport. And we've gotten rid of about 2 million of them. You're talking 5 million people in this country or so less looking for housing now than there were a year ago.
That's right. Rochelle says, I see Trump as a statesman, not a politician. Amen to that. And we haven't seen this in years. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen it, Shady.
JFK could be considered a statesman.
Yeah, absolutely. And a businessman on top of that. Like you overdraft your account, you can't buy stuff, okay? So if the United States overdrafts its account, we shouldn't be buying stuff. It's simple. That's what we as Republicans were taught to be: conservative, limited government, protect your freedoms. It's very simple.
And if you go back from JFK, you have to go to McKinley. And McKinley was assassinated. Why? Because he was implementing tariffs.
He wanted to mess with the monetary system. Every president that's been shot.
Go back from McKinley, it was Lincoln.
Monetary system. That's right.
You know, so it's like every single one that tried to fix it. And then even Donald Trump got touched by one of their bullets.
Wow. Amen. Thank God he's still around, Ryan. I tell you guys. All right, back to the
quarter of an inch.
Back to the questions.
To meet with your team to find out whether or not you're going to send some minesweepers to us or to send some boats. I said, you don't have to meet with your team. It's the same thing here. I can tell you that when this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else. But frankly, much more important than short-term, even long-term oil prices, you can't let the most violent, vicious country in the last 50 years have a nuclear weapon. Because the Middle East will be gone, Israel will go first, without question, and they'll certainly take a shot at us before we get our act together and say we got to take them out. You can't let Iran, who's truly a nation of great terror and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. And the other one, they fought back. They could have yielded. But think of it, if we weren't around, they had tremendous power. They had thousands of missiles, most of which we've terminated. They had thousands of drones. They were making drones and missiles all over the place. We've knocked out most of those factories. I mean, now they're sending out 2 or 3 missiles. Now, they've still got some. They might have 8% left. But mostly they've been eliminated. They've been terminated by what we did and what Israel did too. Yeah, please.
Israel is expected to expand its ground offensive in southern Lebanon to go after Hezbollah. Have you discussed that with Israeli leaders?
Yeah.
And does the United States support a potential Israeli invasion of Lebanon?
Yeah, no, I did. And I know Hezbollah is a problem. It's been a problem for a long time, not just now. And it's a certain area, because I was with the other night a person whose parents live in Lebanon. This is a very substantial person, wealthy person, whose parents live in Lebanon. I said, really? How do you live in Lebanon? Your parents are living? Oh, yeah, they live there. And over the years, they've gotten used to the fact that it's being bombed. But they explained to me that it's really a different section of Lebanon. It's the section where Hezbollah is. And they get used to it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, people live in Ukraine. You would think they wouldn't live in Ukraine, but they live in Ukraine. I don't know that I'd do that. But they live in Ukraine, they live in Lebanon. Hezbollah is a big problem, and they're rapidly being eliminated. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
All right. Wow. Now get out of here so they can conduct business. Thank you very much for that. President Trump speaking today at a lunch meeting with the Trump Kennedy Center Board of Directors and taking questions. I thought those questions were good. I thought he handled them well. He explained the economics of it. People need to start learning economics, right? Okay, it's very simple. You got macroeconomics and microeconomics. A big change in macroeconomics will eventually help the microeconomics, okay? But it takes some time, guys. Shady Group.
It takes time, and it also takes desire, it takes will, and it takes action. None of which we've been watching. What we've been watching our whole lives is a play. Think of it like a play. Like you're standing there. It's not real life, but we're all watching the same play. And George W. Bush, he walks over and he grabs the door in China, and the door doesn't open. Or Barack Obama, he sits there and he's like all like like thinking like he's the big guy in the room, trying to control, like all of these different antics. Those are antics. Those aren't leadership. Those aren't commitments. Those aren't taking or spending political capital. Let's say it that way. Spending political capital is the simplest way you can refer to it. Spending political capital means doing things that are not popular.
That's right.
Things that people don't necessarily want you to do, but you're going to do them anyway because they're the right thing to do. If you implement that in your life, it works the same way.
And think about the people that are saying that he's unpopular. These are the same people that lied to you about the coronavirus, for example.
Everything.
Okay? They lied to you about everything. They lied to you about Russia. They lied to you. All they want to do is take this guy down. Ask yourself why.
Well, you're actually touching on something that may be even a little bit bigger than what you're thinking right there, because, let's think about the whole COVID thing and look at the way that this whole group that we're currently talking about, the Flinfo War group, acted about the vaccine. The way that they acted about the vaccine, not at all capitulating the point that the majority of the world were brainwashed to believe they needed a vaccine. And without a vaccine, they would literally never go back outside. Okay, so you're thinking, this vaccine is the most horrible thing it's ever been implemented. For you, maybe. Not for 7.5 billion people around the planet who had been convinced and tricked and brainwashed into. That's irrelevant because it had already happened. They were already tricked and brainwashed into. They needed a vaccine to come out. And this whole group loses their mind and acts like it was the worst thing in the world that he could have ever done. Do I support it? No. Do I like the technology? No, but obviously, to get the world's economy working again, you are going to have to implement a vaccine, or the deep state wins by keeping everybody locked down until, because Jeff, you know as good as I do, a couple weeks is one thing.
We could still be locked down.
Right. You can, exactly. You extend that 6 months, you extend that lockdown to 6 months from 2 weeks, and there is no world economy.
Yeah.
It goes away. And the rich people sit there and they, again, divvy up the spoils. You think that might have been their plan until Donald Trump came into the room and implemented a vaccine? But now you have all these counter-messaging people that were anti-vaccine are all of a sudden pro-Iran.
That's right.
Isn't that odd?
It's weird, isn't it?
It really does. Yeah. Just, it's hard to navigate, isn't it?
It is. Well, not for me anymore, right? Because we got the eyes to see. If you're siding on the side of Hollywood, like we just played you,
be a problem.
It might be a problem because they thought you'd follow the stars. So now, what do the stars mean, right? Pretty interesting, guys. Really interesting.
The way that it is unfolded is you could literally look at it as perfection.
Yeah,
you could look at this as a piece of perfection that is currently happening to save America, just like a piece of perfection happened in 1776. There was a little piece of perfection. Who do you think? Do you think if there were betting odds in 1776 that America would have been the favorite or the underdog if the world were betting on whether or not this ragtag group of, a few 100,000 people could beat a globalist British Empire?
Yeah. All right, real quick, Shady Groove, let's do this before we continue on, because AI is coming for your job. And that may sound extreme, but the CEO and scientists building artificial intelligence are warning that AI will transform and replace a large part of today's workforce faster than most people are prepared for. If you want to understand what's happening and how to prepare for it, visit driveforgrowthhq.com and see what AI legendary leaders are saying next and what is coming. It's delivered free by email, and that's divinegrowthhq.com. It's a free analysis from Drive Growth HQ, and that examines what AI researchers, economists, and CEOs are saying about the future of work and growing risk of labor and disruption. The report explains how AI is already reshaping industries and why experts and CEOs of major companies have believed job displacement will accelerate in the upcoming months, and what individuals and businesses should do and should understand and do about it right now. You can read and download the full report free at drivegrowthhq.com, because your job may be next. The real answer isn't whether AI will change work, it's whether you'll be prepared to do when it does. Shady, I actually kind of just going to tell you this right now. Let me make sure that I leave a couple of seconds in between here, because I don't think AI is going to eliminate jobs. I think AI is going to bring jobs, okay? If we got all these data centers, new power plants that they can actually put in their own, right? So, you have an Apple data center and they can have their power power plant, that is directly, sticking the all-seeing eye right in the eye, Shady Groove, because you had to have a railroad or a shipping company in order to have a power plant. Trump has opened that up for regular businesses. I'm telling you guys, it's gonna, with that data center, you're gonna need programmers, you're gonna need people smart with computers, you're gonna need, if you look at economics, you have a data center in your city, you're going to have jobs there, they're going to buy things there, it's going to be better. Then you have all of they got to go to lunch, you're going to have lunch people, you're going to have garbage people, you're going to have all these different people and jobs that will stack up underneath one new data center, for example.
I think that's a good point, but I could even maybe expand on that a little bit further of what you're saying there, because I would suggest that maybe AI ends the idea that you need a career. What if AI ends the idea that you need a career and instead you become an entrepreneur? What if AI gives the opportunity for every single American to actually be an entrepreneur, and instead of have to go and work at Hardee's or McDonald's, then you're automatically like getting set up at 15 or 16-year-old to own your own business. And everybody has their own business. And then you can utilize robotics and artificial intelligence to do a lot of the things that you would normally have to hire people to do, because let's be honest, artificial intelligence isn't going to innovate new creative ideas of how we fix problems. AI is actually going to be helping us do that. So I think that in the long run, Jeff, I think that people are going to be free to utilize and to become entrepreneurs, and their quote career is actually something that they own and can thrive off of, as opposed to something that they're beaten down to and submit into submission to have to show up for 8 hours every day and drive 3 hours both ways.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we're so successful, we should all, be rich, right? I mean, with what we've done and what we've, made in this country, and it's crazy, right?
I think that's another thing that
intellectual
I don't want to
property
get too deep into, but I think that is another thing is the wealth. The original idea of the country was for the country to have the wealth.
Yeah.
It wasn't for like us to generate the wealth and then offshore it to every other country around the world. That wasn't the idea. The idea was for us to have the wealth. So the reason that there's this gap there is because all of the excess wealth is being utilized to undergird and prop up foreign countries, as opposed to going back into the system and say, let's start to get some of these people off of the street. Let's maybe go out amongst the homeless population and do an interview of some people and find some folks that would love to be an opportunity to get their CDL and drive a tractor trailer for a living, or to come and learn a new trade and become a carpenter and to get their life back in order. They just need a couple steps to get there. That's completely different than what's going on here in Oregon with the homeless situation, where everybody thinks that they're, that they get up in the morning and they head down to Oregon so that you can get X amount of money every month for being homeless.
Yeah. Florida Girl says, I have a friend in Texas that said a data center will bring 500 jobs. People are renting houses out to several of the workers at very high prices, making it hard for others to find rental homes and apartments. Now, we are going to have a transition. You're going to have a little bit of pain while that community catches up, Shady Groove. I mean, you're going to have a little bit of, higher prices. I mean, it's supply and demand, okay? These people are coming to work. They need a house, and the people that are renting those houses are charging a little bit more because they know that they have the money and they need a house. However, once it gets established, that area in Texas will be booming, Shady.
And there's going to be other stuff too. Like there's this thing going on in North Carolina with a data center. They somehow came in through a company that bought up some farmland for a very low price, and then they turned it over and sold it for extremely high price to a data center company. So this is part of the pains of growth. The eminent domain was a big deal around 1900s, the late 1800s. The idea that the government could say, okay, well, we really need this infrastructure and it's going to be utilizing your property. So unfortunately for you, you're not going to be able to be on this property anymore, but we're going to compensate you 1.5 or 2.5 times what the value of it is. Things like that are going to have to be negotiated. And in capitalism, it's messy like that sometimes.
That's right. Sadly, right? We get sad, that.
But it's better than communism.
So, trade schools are going to boom next. I mean, that's where you want to be. You want to find something that you can do, guys.
And I think that in all reality, every single one of us is slowly but surely starting to get introduced to this idea that abundance is coming.
Yeah.
We've lived our whole lives. However old you are, doesn't matter if you're 25 or if you're 75, you've lived your whole life with scarcity. Yeah. Scarcity doesn't mean like, scarcity in your own life. Maybe you've garnered wealth or gotten it for yourself, but you live around scarcity. Scarcity is what causes crime. Without scarcity in society, there is no crime. This is how they implement crime. They create scarcity. So therefore, crime is an inevitable reality, an outcome.
And then they get you hooked on drugs and all that other crap.
You don't have a choice, man. Yep. If you honest to God, you find yourself living in a situation like that, the last thing in the world you want is to like deal with it every moment.
That's right.
You want to get away from it for a few minutes, and some of the things that you could take do that for you.
Florida Girl 10 let me know that friend is in Abilene, Texas. Gotcha. Yeah, thank you for that. I've always okay. We need skilled people to do all sorts of things in the real world. That's right, Shiny. And we've got to. This is a whole couple of generations, 50 years, Shady Groove, a generation worth of screwing around with the school curriculum. I mean, look at what people go to school for, history, and like it's not kind of people need to get jobs. People need to do like business style things. I did business management with a dual major in marketing and then international business, social science, language arts, and psychology for minors. Get armed up with some sort of trade as well. You've got people that HVAC, you've got, all of these different trades that you can do. And that's what, the future lays ahead. You've got to change, Shady. I mean,
creativity.
Creativity. So if the market changes, what does the market need? And how can you fill a need in that market? Simple.
Innovation and creativity are the linchpin of American society. Like that is, if you think back to whenever you were younger, what you did was that you always found, and I've said this a number of times, but you always found an inspirational character. Did the fireman inspire you because they saved people? Did the policeman inspire you because they saved? Did the teacher inspire you because she showed you how to look at something different? Those moments of inspiration, believe it or not, that is where the good Lord above, if you will, gave you your power. Your power of individuality. You are not a group. If you look around, you were not born with a group. You were born by yourself. You are an individual. You are literally, unless you decide to, you are not connected to any single entity or person or reality unless you choose it. And we have to start realizing, a number of things, like Jeff, it's like when you're in a conversation with somebody and you catch yourself getting offended by what someone is saying. Well, it's you being offended. It's not that person offending you. You have taken the liberty with what that person says to think that that they are talking to you and that you become offended, and then you start to defend your offendedness whenever there was never any intent to offend you to begin with. We have to learn that being offended by something is our own problem, and a lot of the times that offendedness that you generate for yourself, it makes stumbling blocks in front of you.
I'm actually very offended at that last statement, Shady.
You liked it.
We were going to talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson. Maybe we'll table that for tomorrow because he's texting Iranians before we went to war, and the CIA caught it, not from Tucker's text messages, from the actual Iranian guard guys. Okay. He's really mad that he says, that he could be prepping for FARA charges. Who is another person that got connected with FARA charges? It was the Flynn group, guys. And remember when I called that out, that a judge dropped the case of a FARA charge for General Flynn? Now you got Tucker Carlson. Katie.
Tucker Katarlson.
That's
going to have to just do it.
Let me just play this and we'll get out of here because this guy actually kind of broke it down really good. Here, check it out, Shady. Let's see what you think.
All right.
Tucker Carlson might be going to prison. I have some reported information that dives a little deeper on Tucker's contact with IRGC personnel, how President Trump used this to take out Khomeini, and surprise the IRGC. So as many as
Thank you, Trust. $25 Rumble Brand.
So the other day I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report, the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war.
Talking to who in Iran, Tucker? Because people don't get arrested for talking to people in Iran. In fact, many Americans talk with people in Iran, family, friends, etc. That is, when they are able to, around the times the IRGC cuts off the internet and services, but you seem to figure it out. That is, you are speaking with people in the IRGC. About what? We may have that information, and this will reportedly all be released in these next coming days or so.
They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that.
No, they didn't read your text, Tucker. They were actually monitoring the calls and messages of our enemies, the same ones plotting against us and screaming consistently, "Death to America." Do you remember Robert Hansen, the FBI counterintelligence agent who secretly spied for the Soviet Union and later Russia for over 20 years until 2001? He was arrested not because the US was monitoring Hansen at first, but because they discovered him by analyzing information coming from Russian intelligence files. Same thing here. If this information is reportedly true, President Trump knew about Tucker's traitorous betrayal of the United States and gave him false information, like he had no intention of attacking Iran. This explains the increasing amount of appearances Tucker had to the White House leading up to Operation Epic Fury. Tucker would then pass that information on to our adversaries, which gave the IRGC a false sense of security. This would include opening up Khomeini to an airstrike along with countless other IRGC leaders who are all now dead. So don't believe Tucker watering down what is happening with this investigation in his video, where he seems extremely nervous, shaken, and uncomfortable. Use a little bit of sense. You don't get in trouble and accused of being a foreign agent charged under the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938 simply for just speaking to Iranians. I know that. You know that, and Tucker supporters deep down know that as well. We shall see how this plays out over the next coming days, but if it is even halfway true what is being reported, and what I have on good measure will be released soon, then he is, to put it lightly, fucked.
Sorry, my bad, guys. I think he laid it out very well. But, you know, he's got a
Jewish flag in the background. Oh, my God.
that right there is, this is so much more than it's so much bigger than what everybody is understanding and the communications that have been going on. And this is part of what Q was explaining to us. This is part of what Q meant by talking about the Harvard University Muslim alumni and talking about the massive connections that there are within the CIA, Brennan, and the FBI, Strzok and Page, and all these people, and Valerie Jarrett and ex-Obama administration, and Iran and the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people. We have to make sure we just make this very clear. The Iranian people, they are not advocating for. These people like Tucker and Marjorie are advocating for the regime.
Yeah.
Advocating for the boogeyman. The boogeyman we know is propped up by the CIA. It has been propped up by the CIA. So Thomas Massey, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of these CIA assets, Jeff.
Yep. Yeah. And it's bigger than you can imagine. And we are now just connecting the dots. And it's amazing because we followed something and reported on something that apparently people were really upset at, which was Q. Pretty interesting, Shady. And that Q operation that was close to Trump, sorry, he still posts memes about Q on his True Social, actually allowed us to understand where we go from the president's election, okay? He was elected, and then all of a sudden in October, Q starts posting because we were like, what's going on? If we didn't have Q, we wouldn't be where we are today, guys.
Alex Jones thought that President Trump was a fool. Yeah. General Flynn thought that President Trump was a fool. Tucker Carlson thought that President Trump was a fool. And this numbnut Scott McMahon now thinks Trump is a fool. Guess who the fools really are? I'll leave that for you to decide. Let me know tomorrow.
That's right. And hi, Scott, we're looking at you. All right, here we go. Ready? Bigger than you can imagine, Shady. God bless you all. Monday's in the books. Gosh, so much is happening. And we didn't even cover a
I love this. How could we be so lucky to be able to sit here and report to these beautiful people the most amazing administration ever in the history of the country?
Dux has a comment.
Stop spreading the truth. Come on.
It's a rebel.
Hillary Clinton.
You know, and the truth does not pay very well, but thank God for you. Trust 1961. Thanks for all you do. $25 Rumble Rent. P83 again. Happy birthday. It's bigger than you can imagine, guys. Check you guys tomorrow.
It is. Oh, it's big.
Let's go.
margin, more than selling of state secrets, more than selling of U.S. security, more than selling of military tech, more than selling of CIA assets, more than selling of NSA bulk data collection programs, more than selling of uranium, more than selling of U.S. space security, more than selling of USA. Bigger, so much bigger than you can imagine. Bigger, so much bigger than you can imagine. Destroy the narrative. This is much bigger than even horses can imagine. Welcome to the awakening. Free information, power back to the people. With knowledge comes power. Bigger, so much bigger than you can imagine. Bigger, so much bigger than you can imagine. So much bigger than you can imagine. Bigger, so much bigger than you can imagine. This is bigger than any one person or entity. You are fighting for truth collectively. Will of the people, trust in yourself, the choice will always be yours. God bless you all. Where we go on, we go on. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Expand your thinking. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Trust the plan, there are a lot more good than bad. You, the people, need to remember how to play. You, the people, have the power. We strike every single day. We win every single day. Every single day they are being destroyed, literally. Stay strong. Have faith. This is bigger than anyone can imagine. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Expand your thinking. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Expand your thinking. Future proves past. Nothing is a coincidence. The map is the key, planned for years. Corruption and evil deep within. Every way, patrons, there is no escape. There are no deals present at highest levels. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Expand thinking. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine. Expand thinking. Bigger, bigger, bigger than you can possibly imagine.
www.mg.show. Boom.